What's up, everybody? It's your boy Phil Porto, photographer, videographer, and educator. And today on the channel, we're going to talk about it's not you, it's me. The reasons I divorced the Fuji GFX 100s. So besides the video that I did with John Branch 4 on his page where we did a shootout with the GFX 100s and the recent video that I released with Shoddy NYC, some of you might not have even known that I owned a GFX 100s. And that may be one of the reasons that I got rid of it. I didn't do many videos because honestly, I was not using it that much. Honestly, it is the best camera that I have ever shot with, but for the most part, I was not using the camera unless I was in a controlled environment in my studio. And after I gave up the studio, I used it even less. So you might be asking, if you love the camera so much, why was it not getting any usage? Well, let me break it down. So the first reason. So if you followed me for any period of time, and you watched one of my first viral videos, which is the Why Fujifilm video, you would know that one of the main reasons that I moved from a Canon DSLR to Fuji mirrorless was the weight. With the leg problems that I was having, the back issues that I was having, and wanting to be in this industry for the long haul, I made that switch to better myself and be able to do what I love to do without that stress. And as much as I love the GFX 100s, that bad boy is not light, at least for a small guy like me. Maybe my homie Miles Whit Boyer, who's like Mr. Muscles and Mr. Abs, he's able to like carry that around all day, 2 cameras, dual shooting with his hold fast. But for me personally, it ended up being a lot of weight to bear throughout a day. So I decided to only use it in those controlled environments like the studio. And besides the camera, the good lenses that I really enjoyed, those weren't lightweight either. So adding both of those to it kind of defeated the whole purpose of why I switched to Fuji in the first place. So I ended up not reaching for it the same way that I was reaching for my XT series or my 100V. So it didn't make much sense to me in that scenario. Second, this is one of the sharpest and most detailed cameras that I have ever and probably ever will shoot with. And that is fine and dandy for some of the things that I was doing, but a lot of times it was overkill. It wasn't really what I needed. I had these giant file sizes and I had these extremely detailed images, and actually had to cut back some of the details for the kind of stuff that I was delivering. So for me, it made sense if I was creating images that are going to be printed on billboards and stuff like that, which was kind of a goal at one point. But as I kind of shifted from that desire and those wants, it kind of just didn't make sense for me to be shooting with this all the time when it was actually becoming more work than I really wanted to do with those images. So I had to ask myself, why do you have this camera? Third reason, I am a photo and video shooter. I am not just a photographer. I do a lot of video work, whether it's shooting events or whether it's creating campaigns for a whiskey company or something like that. I do a lot of video work. So for me to have something so powerful for photo, but it not really serve too much purpose for video, didn't really make too much sense to me, okay? Like, I needed both of those things, so I ended up having cameras that could do both of those things on top of having the GFX 100s. And so in comparison, okay, I'm a huge New York Knicks fan, die hard, and I love basketball jerseys. So I wear those all the time. But if someone was to say, hey, I have a jersey for you, that is awesome, I'm interested. But when they tell me it's an LA Laker jersey, it really doesn't make much sense to me. I'm not going to wear it. Like, even though it's a jersey, I need a jersey that's a Knick jersey. So I needed a camera that I could rely on to do both, and do both in excellence. So once again, it did not seem like it was the best fit for me. And then the fourth reason. Okay, so now I have this camera, but I also need other cameras to do the photo and video stuff that I want to do, which makes it a not cheap camera to own. It's not a cheap camera, period. Like, let's be honest. Compared to other medium format cameras, definitely a great price. However, I'm not talking about just medium format cameras. I'm just talking about cameras in general and the needs that I needed. So I had to have that camera plus others to get things that I wanted. So that did not end up being a cheap scenario. And I was wasting a lot of money because I was buying something for photo, and then I was buying something for the photo video camera, needed lenses for both, needed accessories for both, and it was just overkill. It was overkill for me financially. And if I'm not using it that much, like I was saying earlier, that's a lot of money to be sitting on a shelf. And another reason I found myself not really using the camera is because the lenses weren't extremely cheap. And in order to get an arsenal of lenses that I wanted, that I desired, that was going to cost a lot. And I couldn't really sell off the gear that I already had because I still needed that for my photo work. So I ended up having a small little package of lenses when I needed more if I was going to continue to go that route. So it just did not make sense there as well. And then the fifth reason, with all the medical stuff that I had going on, after my surgery, I really had to start looking at things a little bit different. Like, what are my wants and what are my needs? And if they don't mesh up, then something needs to be fixed. And so as I started looking at it, I realized that I wanted it, but it wasn't really a need, so that it wasn't wise for me to continue having it. And having gear collect dust, while I could be paying down medical bills or rebuilding up our savings, just didn't seem wise. And knowing that I could still create amazing work with the gear I already owned, that really shifted my mindset a lot. So those are the reasons that I broke up with the GFX100s. So some may ask, do I miss it? Yes, I miss it. Man, do I miss it. Holding that camera in my hand felt good. Even though it was heavy, and after a while I was like, gotta put this down. Like, when I had it in my hands, I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. And when I looked at the images on the back of the LCD, and I was just like, wow, look at what I was able to create with this camera. So yes, I miss it. I would be lying if I said I didn't. But do I regret it? No, not at all. This is a season in my life where I could say that I'm really just not getting caught up in this whole FOMO thing. And I'm able to really just enjoy where I'm at. So that's why I divorced the GFX100s. So if the above reasons do not pertain to you, get the GFX100s. Like, that is my advice. It's the best camera that these beautiful tattooed hands have ever held. However, if you were in a similar place as I was, just know that as great of a camera as it is just a tool. And you could still create amazing, jaw-dropping images with the cameras that you have access to now. So do not feel like you always have to get the greatest and latest or the highest pixel or this, that, or whatever to compete with the big boys or to actually be known or to actually create great art. Because great art can be at the fingertips of what you already own. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm creating with the gear that makes sense for me in this season. Some people will rock with it, some people won't. That doesn't matter. That's not going to change based off the camera. So do not be discouraged to feel like you have to have that. And if you have it, be encouraged to make the best art with that camera because it is fantastic. So until next time, thank you guys so much for watching and God bless.